This tutorial is about dimension groups. I'm going to log in as an administrator. Whoops. If I go through my men's shirts, t-shirts, you'll notice that I have a lot of different t-shirts listed. They're all the Urban Pipeline Heather V-neck t-shirt. Now they're all different variations and sizes of the exact same shirt. So instead of showing all of these products, I want to group them together, just show one product, and then have my user go into the item detail page to choose what size and color they want to get the specific product. So let's talk about how we group one style of a product together into what's called a dimension group. So when you create your item groups, if something is part of a dimensional product, that needs to go in its very own group. So my MST001 products are all the same style, just variations in size and color. So I put those all in one group, and don't mix other products in there. So every style needs its own group when you're doing dimension groups. And then one of the things I need to mention is that this is a dimension group. Mark that with a check and save the changes. If those items are in any other group, you won't be able to mark it as a dimension group. They can only be in one group. Those items can only be in one group to mark it as a dimension group. After you've marked it as dimension group, then you need to come up to the catalog tree, go to your leaf node, my t-shirts, and you have to say on the node attributes that this node contains dimension groups, because the one I actually could put many groups in here, but the one group I do have is a dimension group, so I have to specify that this node is a dimension group. The last thing has to do with, first we did the group marked as dimension group. We went to the node and said this node leaf node contains dimension groups, and now I have to go to the attributes and determine which attributes provide the dimensions for this group. Those attributes are colors and size for my t-shirt. So I have to go to the color and I have to say I want this one listed on the item detail page, and I'm going to put it as a list value, so it's going to show the colors, and it's actually going to show little swatches of the colors. And then I also want this one to be the one that's going to be on my browse search page. If I want to show little swatches of the various colors offered, I want this one to be a swatch. And save the changes. One of your dimensions attributes has to be considered the swatch, whether you show them or not. Then I'm going to go to the size, and I'm going to say that also that attribute wants to be on the dimension group, but I'm going to make this part one a drop down, and save the changes. So now that I've done the tree node, said it's a dimension node, I've done the group and said it's a dimension group, and I've gone to the attributes that are my dimensional attributes, and I've marked them such. Now I'm going to publish. After I've published, now when I go back and I browse to my men's shirts and then t-shirts, instead of seeing all those products, they're now grouped together into just one product, where I can then go in to the item detail and I can see my colors, and those were a list. I said list those out, and they're actually showing as a swatch, which is a little swatch representation of each color, and then my size is in a drop down. So my default one was the MST001 black, but if I change it to blue, now I'm looking at the MST001 large blue, and it also changes the image as well. It'll change the size, or the price for that. It'll look at the quantity available for that particular item, but each combination has to resolve to one unique item. So you couldn't have blue large assigned to two different items. Let's go and look at what utility that we have. Oops, module admin, catalog engine, dimension group validation it's called. So once you've done a dimension group, it's important to come in here, and you've assigned your attributes to your items in that group. It's important to come in here and make sure that everything resolves properly, that you don't have any two things that point to or any two attributes that don't lead to uniqueness of an item. So let me set one up that would fail. I'm going to go to assign items to attribute values. I'm going to say MST001 to MST002, preview my items, and on the MST001 black you see that it's got size large. I'm going to remove the large and I'm going to make that size medium, because I've also got the black medium down here that's got medium and black assigned. So I've got two items that have medium and black assigned. So if I come to the dimension group validation now, you'll see that it shows duplicate items on those because it says medium and black do not resolve to one unique item. So let's go back to assign items to attribute values. I'm going to take the medium off. And I'm going to make it a large again. Never find that. Now come to my dimension group validation, and this should resolve properly. Oops. Let's publish first. I believe it's looking at the publish table. It thinks this is missing the size. Let's go make sure that I actually assign that. Size large. That's checked. Assign to the items. Make sure that it's there. Yep, it's there. Now it all resolves. If I check these two boxes and I say apply filter, it's going to show me only errors, and I have none. Okay, so mark your group as a dimensional group. Make sure that any items that are in a dimension group are not in any other groups. Mark your catalog tree last level leaf node to be a dimension node on the node attribute tab there. Mark your attributes, one of them of the two dimension attributes to be the swatch, and one of them to show on the item detail page, and or both of them to show on the item detail page and how you want them to show, and then go ahead and publish. Make sure that your items all have attributes and use the dimension group validation to validate that your group has all got everything assigned properly. Let's talk a little bit about those swatches and where they come from. If I go up to the color and I go to my black, you'll see that the image for black is called black.jpg. So it's looking for that for the swatch name. So if I go back here and I go to my shirts, t-shirts, and I look at this particular image and I go to its properties, you'll see that it's looking for an image called black_SM, which is the small. So my dimension, my swatch is looking for a small swatch for the whatever the image name was that was on my attribute. Where's my black? Okay, so you create one that's called give the image name here, create one that's called black_sm for small .jpg, and that's the one that's going to show on your item detail page. There's more details on that in the supporting document, supporting product documentation.